These are images of brown and red forests generated by AI. They may not be real, but they are still a reflection of how our planet could have looked if some things would have been different. So how come most of the vegetation on our planet is green? The answer to that question can be found in our oceans and on how each phylum of algae, green, brown and red, are similar, yet different at the same time. So, we should start by understanding a bit of taxonomy. All algae are part of the three different groups or phylums: Chlorophyta, green algae; Ochrophyta, brown algae; and Rhodophyta, red algae. Green algae are named after their green chloroplasts, which contain the pigment chlorophyll A and B, just like plants. They can be unicellular, colonial, or multicellular organisms, and inhabit both freshwater and marine environments. Examples include Chlamydomonas, Ulva, and Spirogyra. Brown algae are named for their brown or olive-green color due to the presence of a pigment called fucocoxanthin. They are multicellular, ranging from small filamentous forms to large kelps, and are mostly found in marine environments. Examples of brown algae include Laminaria, Fucus, and Sargassum. Red algae are called so because they contain pigments like phycobilins and phycoerythrins, which give them a reddish appearance. They are typically found in marine environments and can range from unicellular to multicellular. They produce agar and carrageenan, which is used in the production of many foods. Examples of red algae include Corallina, Porphyra, and Gelidium. In terms of morphology, green algae and red algae have both cell walls made of cellulose, while brown algae have cell walls made of a complex polysaccharide called alginic acid. While it is true that some brown and red algae can look green, only the green algae played a role in the evolution of photosynthetic pigments in terrestrial plants, including the green coloration of leaves. This is because it is believed that green algae and land plants share a common ancestor, which is believed to be also a green algae, as the pigments and structures involved in photosynthesis are similar in both groups. When plants evolved from green algae and began to colonize the land, they faced new challenges such as exposure to intense sunlight and desiccation. To adapt to these new conditions, plants developed specialized structures, such as leaves and stomata, and evolved new pigments, such as carotenoids and anthocyanins, that provide protection against UV radiation and excess light. However, the core photosynthetic machinery in plants is still based on the same pigments and structures as in green algae, and therefore, they share many similarities. The green color of leaves in plants is due to the presence of chlorophyll, which is the same pigment found in green algae. In fact, the similarity in pigments and structures between green algae and plants is one of the key pieces of evidence supporting the theory of evolution. While it is safe to say that more research is needed, it is possible that the green algae of the past were simply better adapted to the land, for a few reasons. On one hand, the thylakoids, the membrane-bound structures that contain the pigments and other molecules needed for photosynthesis, are stacked in groups of 2 to 20. Whereas in brown algae are stacked in groups of 3 and are simply unstacked on red algae. While it is true that they have adapted in different ways, this would still make their light absorption somewhat less efficient. Brown and red do not have as many species with a motile stage as green algae. This is important because the motile stages allow them to disperse to new areas or colonize new habitats, which could have been key for the transition to Earth. One study showed that red algae species have less genes than green ones, as even single-celled green algae can have more genes than multicellular reds. For instance, the red Chondrus crispus have 9,606 genes, while the green Chlamydomonas reinhardti has 14,516. The authors of this article also pointed out how crispus has few introns, which are sections of RNA inside genes that get edited out during the production of proteins. Thus, the authors suggest that red algae might have experienced an evolutionary bottleneck, preventing them from getting adaptations for the land. According to a study published in the Journal of Phycology, molecular clock analyses estimate that red algae originated approximately 1.2 billion years ago during the Mesoproterozoic era. Meanwhile, according to a study published in the journal Current Biology, genetic analyses suggest that the common ancestor of green algae and land plants lived around 725 million years ago. And the first evidence of brown algae in the fossil record dates to the Cretaceous period, around 100 million years ago. However, while green algae were not the first group, they still have a longer evolutionary history than red and brown algae, having more divergence and diversification. In conclusion, a reason why a lot of plants are green is because 1. Green algae and terrestrial plants share a common ancestor. 2. Have more and better organized thylakoids. 3. More species with motile stages. 4. Have more genes that red algae and 5. Have diversified more extensively. I hope that this video could help you appreciate algae and plants in a new way and learn a bit more of nature. Now consider watching this video about sargassum or this one about yuyo.